And here on the executive stage, I would like to welcome Vasil one more time. Hello, good morning, and Theodor Panayotov from Ethermind. And we have a great presentation from Theodor about the future of work. Thank you very much, guys. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Roberto. Again, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to everyone across the globe watching now. My name is Vasil Petrov. For those that missed the previous two sessions, I'm the founder and managing director of Lean Institute Bulgaria. It's a big pleasure to have Theodor Panayotov, Theo, here today with us. Theo is a friend of mine for many years now. We practice together Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We know each other on personal and professional level. I would say a remarkable person with 3 kids, very passionate about education, making sure that those kids will get the right education in Bulgaria and outside. Other than that, Theodor is one of the few Bulgarians that graduated Singularity University at NASA Ames, focusing on AI, exponential technologies, and the transformation of business and technology. Theodor has been, I would say, a voice of AI in our country and outside for some time now. And as a co-founder of Ethermind, he focuses on AI agents that are as close to real persons as possible and support the business. More on that, Theo will share in a second. He's a visionary, so I'm pretty sure that you will learn a lot. Theo, the stage is yours. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you very much, Vasil. Please let me, if you can see my screen, let me know. Should be visible. All right, cool. Yep. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for the invite. What I've prepared is a visionary presentation about what's happening now and the near future, and hopefully, it will be useful for many people within the audience. That's why it's called Future of Work in Beta. You'll see why in a second. A little bit about me. Vasil already said the main things. 3 kids, 16, 12, and 6. I started my career as a computer networking engineer, designing computer networks for data centers, for internet service providers. I was the youngest certified Cisco trainer in Europe about 20 years ago. Did business development for a very large technology upskilling company in a very large region, and then went to Singularity University. And this is where really my story, my transformational life story starts. The goal of my presentation today is really that none of us here on this presentation are in the place of Mr. Ed Klein from over 100 years ago. Mr. Ed Klein took an ad in a newspaper to actually say that, the total cost of ownership of his really nice horse, Dobbin, you can see, is far less than the gasoline, repairs and storage charges and so on. However, with the benefit of knowing what happened, we can clearly see that the peak of the horse population was over 100 years ago, and that unfortunately many horses right now are unemployable. So my goal is not to be Mr. Ed Klein. My story starts here. This is the biggest hangar for airships in the world. It's located in the NASA Ames Research Park in Mountain View, right next to Mountain View. The people are down there for scale. This hangar, when I was in Singularity University, was actually used by Google to test their robots more than 10 years ago. So Singularity University, as an institution where my journey started, was founded by those 2 gentlemen, Ray Kurzweil and Peter Diamandis. Ray is the one on your left. He is the gentleman who invented the text-to-speech engine, speech-to-text engine, the first flatbed scanner, Kurzweil pianos, and so on. And next to him, Peter Diamandis, very famous entrepreneur, investments in longevity, friends with Elon Musk, and so on. So, but those 2 invited lecturers like Larry Page and like Mark Andreessen. And what we discussed throughout a few months in an interdisciplinary group of leaders from the whole world was the exponential nature of technology. And really, it all boils down to this slide. This is the most important chart in our lives. This chart, I have been using specifically this chart on purpose since 2014. And what it shows is the exponential nature of anything silicon-based. Basically, it's called Moore's Law, coined by Mr. Gordon Moore in the 1960s. it shows that every 18 months, we have a doubling of the price-performance combination for anything silicon-based. Basically, that means that the phone within our, oh, my phone is getting mixed up here, that the phone within our pocket is a supercomputer from 25 years ago. Interestingly enough, Moore's law used to work even before it was coined. So if we look in the 1940s, the first computers with vacuum tubes, doubling of price performance every 18 months. If we'll even look back to the First World War, electromechanical calculators, it still worked. And right now we are in the gray zone. And I remind you, this slide, I've been using it for more than 10 years. If we look at the top right corner, what do we see? We see that surpasses the brain power of a single human being in 2023. This is for a device of about $1,000. Well, what happened on the last day of November of 2022 was that ChatGPT was released. And I don't know about the people in the audience, but for me, it's way smarter than me in a lot of things. Why? I'll share with you a thought in a second, why it looks like it's smarter than me. But we're on this trajectory where we're riding this exponential wave. And right now we're in the gray zone between, yes, a machine can be very successful in replicating what humans do, in augmenting what humans do, but we're not there yet with the hard science fiction scenarios of artificial superintelligence and so on, which is supposed to happen in 2045 if we look at Ray Kurzweil's predictions. This is an example of an exponential technology. You can see the fat version of me sitting in the trunk of one of the first prototypes of a Google self-driving car. The sensor on top, more than 10 years ago, the metal sensor on top is called a LiDAR, or laser radar. And back in the day, it used to cost $250,000. Right now, if you have an iPhone, the sensor used for identifying your face, for the Face ID, costs a few cents and is embedded within the screen of the iPhone and is the size of half of your fingernail. It's practically the same 3D mapping laser sensor. So the thing is, however, that silicon technology is not the first exponential thing on Earth. Actually, the first exponentially growing thing in terms of its capacity to do calculations and think is mammals. This person here on the picture is Ilya Sutskever. I took this picture of him last year in December on the NeurIPS AI Research Conference, and he was showing this slide. And what the slide shows is that there is a very, you can clearly trace the increase of brain mass to body mass combination for mammals. There is a very hard stop at 700 grams. So a 3-ton hippopotamus actually has a 700 grams of brain. And there's very few animals who go over the 700 grams of brain border. That's whales, this is elephants, and this is us. If you take a look at the more aggressive trajectory, this is us, this is the hominids. So we are actually the first exponentially growing, we can say technology, I'm sorry if I offend someone, historically throughout the nature of the world. That's why we currently rule the world, because we got smarter faster. Humans run on a separate chart, but we have a hardware limit. For most of us, the hardware limit is 1.5 liters of brain. So our brain capacity cannot continue growing exponentially. It's just that a child cannot be born with a bigger head. At the same time, within the fullness of time, we are pretty much fixed in time, meaning our body and my body, Vasil's body, Roberto's body is the same as our ancestors about 10,000 years ago. Maybe it's a bit weaker because we sit on chairs the whole day, but it's roughly the same body. So for many tasks, many of the things we are doing, we are here. We look like a linear animal living in an exponential world because the computer performance of algorithms, of AI models, of hardware is getting exponentially faster and faster. And the thing is that Moore's law says that we have a doubling of price performance every 18 months. But right now, we are writing actually 3 scaling laws for AI. This is Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA, the most important company in the world. I won't bore you with the details of the 3 scaling laws. I'll just say that the last one, test time scaling, you've seen with the thinking models, the models where you give the model a task, like the paid version of ChatGPT, and it starts thinking and having an internal dialogue. Those 3 laws lead to a doubling of the performance of the top AI models every 6 months nowadays. So the reality is, if we can answer this question, for example, we would have, in the previous 34 questions, we would have an IQ of about 120. And if we just want to use IQ like some kind of a measure for intelligence and how we'll do in the world, it's useful. But this is the reality. This is all humans on Earth on the blue chart. This is the IQ distribution, starting somewhere around 60, going up to, let's say, 140, 150, whereas 150 and above is genius level. ChatGPT 5 Pro, the paid version, is currently at 143, doing 143 at the IQ tests. And if we continue on this exponential trajectory, the reality is that we will not have artificial superintelligence somewhere at, let's say, 161, 170. The picture will look like this. We will have an alien intelligence pretty soon, by the looks of it, pretty soon amongst us, which we will probably not understand entirely how it works. That's why the monster with all the tentacles, it's called a shoggoth if you want to look it up on the internet, but it will have an interface towards us. That's why it has the smiley face. The interface is it patching up to the systems. We want to point it to fixing up databases, talking to us in chat windows, talking to us in voice. Voice will be very big over the next few years. So we think of it this way. We will have a friend, a buddy, who will be very eager to help us. We will most definitely not have a Terminator scenario, and this is what we need to actually learn to use. Because the real measure of intelligence is not IQ, it's our ability to adapt to change. And this is where all the lean principles come in with the continuous improvement. We have to keep improving. It cannot, business as usual doesn't cut it. We are at the moment in history where we are moving from flapping to jet engines. Historically, 100 years ago, people were thinking, yeah, if we build like wooden wings and we start flapping them faster, maybe we'll fly. And Otto Lilienthal was a great pioneer, the person in the picture. But the best he built was like a few gliders and so on. Well, a little bit after we solved flight, the Wright brothers solved flight, a couple of decades later, we invented the jet engine. And what the jet engine brought to us was that we have an entirely new way of doing things. Nothing made by evolution flies faster, higher, and carries more weight or for a further time and further distance than an Airbus A380. Nothing. So we are at this moment, we will start reinventing how to do things. And here's some predictions. And I hope you agree with me that they look right, but I've ventured only 2 years ahead of time. So that I'm fairly sure that if somebody says, I know what will happen on 2030 and further, they're clearly BSing you. There's no other way to say it. So what's happening now in 2025 is that we clearly see that coding, basic junior IT specialist jobs, they start to go. If we take a look at the list of what Y Combinator is announcing as what they're looking for, then Y Combinator is a great investment fund in the US, very important. Many companies took it from there, started from there. Practically everything where we do something repetitive on a computer, and the computer may have a screen or may not have a screen, or may have a keyboard or may not have a keyboard, practically anything right now which is repetitive will go. It's a matter of financial modeling more than anything. Right now, we live in the age of reinforcement learning, which means that any piece of enterprise software, any piece of professional software we're using actually learns from us. And there are many teams of experts, doctors, lawyers, and so on, who are contracted to teach AI models and in specific tasks. So very soon we'll see disruptions in those fields as well. And I want to give you a weird example from yesterday. Yesterday, we saw that even hacking, computer hacking, is a repetitive task on a computer. Government hackers, yesterday, you can check it on Twitter, the news is everywhere, actually used Claude, Anthropic's Claude, to do automated hacking, automated look for exploits, automated execution of those exploits, and so on. And they hacked 30 major companies yesterday. This is something which was impossible 2 years ago, even last year. So what do businesses do to adapt? The businesses do two main things to adapt. This is a report by LinkedIn. I took the slide from there. The main thing is they train the staff to use the AI. And my ask for you here is, if you have the ability, please, please, please use only the latest and greatest tools. Because of this exponential growth, because of the doubling of performance of top AI models every 6 months, the difference between the latest version and the previous one is potentially orders of magnitude. Potentially you'll get a big percentage difference in the results you get. And potentially, it's a make or break scenario. And the second thing that companies do is they develop new workflows. And this is why it's so great that you're on this conference, because what's happening here is we can look at every workflow, we can look at every task, analyze it mercilessly, and decide, okay, is there a better way to do it? Can we eliminate waste? Can we eliminate waste in the workflow? Can we reduce manual handoffs or data reentry? Can we even rebuild the whole product with the vision of it being AI first? That's why lean principles are must for the businesses right now. What's happening right now is that we see clearly that hard skills are turning soft. So their useful half-life is actually getting shorter. Being a programmer in a certain, let's say, JavaScript framework used to be something very important 10 years ago. Right now, it has a useful half-life of, let's say, 6 months or less. And at the same time, soft skills are turning hard. So they're difficult to build, they're critical, and they take a lot of time. And then this was really a revelation for myself. I was thinking, all right, why do I find ChatGPT such a genius? Well, I was thinking, all right, many people who are experts with real areas of expertise, they quickly realize AI is needed. Why does it look so magical to me and to some of my friends who don't have an area of expertise? Well, it turns out really it's becoming clear that many people do not have an area of expertise, and that's where unfiltered generalistic AI models with nothing fine-tuned actually look magical. They're not. It's just that the person who's using them doesn't really have an area of expertise. So your domain expertise is the new moat, because the goal would be, and the goal what we do in Ethermind for our company is really, the goal is to capture expert intuition inside AI systems. That's what real AI a couple of years down the line would look like. So I've compiled a short list of basic AI literacy with the skills we would need in order to thrive in today's environment. And those include things like fundamentals, including AI prompting, but also data literacy. Where we see that AI projects fail is literally because people throw garbage in those, and it's a computer program, so garbage in, garbage out. Right now, our AI projects, let's say in energy, for example, we have a major project in energy, is really 80% fixing the flows of data, fixing the data, fine-tuning the models, fine-tuning data, and then the last 20% is the general AI models. Then the practical use, the niche knowledge, we already discussed this. This is what makes you unique. And then the rest is human skills. I really want to highly emphasize on two things. Ethical reasoning. What AI models give us now is they give us the ability for all of us to be very creative. We can all be creators. So we need to be ethical with those very, very hard, very useful tools. And then critical thinking and fact checking are key, because they tend to invent things from time to time. And we have to look at this with the mindset of growth. The growth mindset is key. This is the biggest opportunity of our lifetime. In 2026, we'll see major business disruptions for major business models for video and music and online customer facing. Voice agents will be everywhere. We're currently seeing a boom of companies building voice agents, and they're really sounding like humans in many languages. We'll start seeing the first real scientific automated discoveries, and we'll start seeing AI integration into medical and biosciences. Just an example from a couple of days ago, on the 5th of November, this was released, and it's an example of actually a multi-agentic system which made seven genuine AI discoveries. Just one of the agents read 1,500 papers on diabetes and came to conclusions which doctors were not able to. So we'll see more and more over the next few years. We'll see more and more AR, VR glasses. I don't know if you've seen the Ray-Ban glasses. You can buy them for $800 right now, Ray-Ban Meta glasses. they're indistinguishable. If somebody's wearing them, they have to tell you, hey, I have these glasses, I'm taking pictures, I'm listening to audio, I have a screen. And on this screen and on the other screens, we might have the next generation of world building models like Genie 3, which came from DeepMind. You can take a look at a demo online for free, but it's basically a text to world model. So you write a couple of sentences, you say, I want a bridge built out of rock, and then you can walk around in this world. It's an immersive world. Imagine the experience there. Imagine the experience for, let's say, for simulations, for simulating, let's say, defects and predicting errors and putting someone within like a whole scenario. So this is what we'll see. Not text to picture, not text to video, text to world. And then 2027 onwards, we'll start seeing more and more robots. It's already happening in China. They're building highways without any human workers involved. And then the other big thing is we will see more and more locally running AI on our computers, on our phones, on our personal devices. It will know everything about us. It will be encrypted and it will run locally on our device and send just the information which is needed to the big AI models. You've seen those robots, I guess. On the left is Uni3's robot. It can do kung fu and jumps and so on. The basic model of this robot costs $15,000. Imagine this. Compared to it's less than a car, less than a second-hand car. On the right is Figure 03, which my wife wants one of these. It can do laundry. It can do the washing machine. We'll probably not be buying these, but we'll have them like kind of a subscription, a few $100s a month, and please can do the laundry at home. And the goal of those companies, these 5 or 6 companies, multi-billion investments in them, every single one of them has stated the goal of having more than 1 billion robots within the next 10 years produced. So what we have is really a lot of the world is following the abundance framework by Peter Diamandis. Remember the gentleman on the picture in the beginning. He says, when something becomes digitized, it grows deceptively slow for the first couple of years, then it suddenly becomes a disruptive innovation. Remember audio cassettes and video cassettes from 20 years ago? That's what happened to them. Spotify happened to them. So when it becomes disrupted, it becomes demonetized, so it's very cheap to produce the next one. The cost of a new one is the cost of electrons. It dematerializes, goes into the not in the physical world, and it's democratized. Access to it is for everybody. Unfortunately, one of the things we've democratized over the past few years is war. I won't stay too much on it, but I will just say that the drones which Ukraine used to destroy 1/3 of the Russian Air Force were trained. They running AI models on the drone trained within a museum in Poland. So they were completely locally trained AI drones. So we've democratized war as well. So in reality, change is the only constant we have. And the speed of change is increasing. And in this world where we're all creators, what we need to think of in order to be valuable for our organizations, for the continual improvement, in order to actually continue to improve throughout our lifetime within the company, is really take a look at everything. And there's mega trends which are driving the world. And when we're creating with AI models, we need to take a look at them and think about the whole value chain. There is technological change, there is deglobalization happening right now, there is demographic change globally, there is environmental sustainability, urbanization, increasing inequality, and political uncertainty. That's not by me, the list is by Pearson, a giant in the field of education a couple of years back. Same story, different words is being told by the World Economic Forum with a list of risks. If we take a look at the next 10 years, the big risks which they see, extreme weather events, critical change to our systems. If you take a look at the risk number 10 in the 10 years, adverse outcomes of AI technologies. All of those are connected. So we can have a map and see very clearly how the adverse outcomes of AI technologies on the top right are connected to online harms, to societal polarization, and then those lead to inequality and to potentially lack of economic opportunity. So in reality, in order for us to be somewhat secure in the 21st century, we need to have 3 things. Whether it's for our job, for our organization, for our position, we need to have network, who knows us, our reputation follows us online everywhere, and the ability to adapt, continuously to adapt, and to improve, really. In the last few sentences, I want to leave you with this. AI technologies right now are on the top. The generative AI technologies are on the top of the Gartner Hype Cycle instrument. Please take a look at the reports. But the reality is that in several use cases, we might face a true of disillusionment. We might face a bit of a disappointment in some of the use cases until we get to productivity. So please, please, please make sure you work with consultants, you prepare your data, you really find how you use the models and how you get the business value before jumping into AI implementations. The consulting work and the process work has to be done. It may be a bit of a bubble. This is the map from Bloomberg for all the circular investments within NVIDIA and all the other players. It's not a picture by me. It's a picture by Bloomberg from a month ago. And key takeaways really for this presentation. We have a few years to make a real difference. We have to ride the wave and only use the latest tools. We have to keep adapting. The real opportunity isn't just using AI, it's building with it. And the robots are coming everywhere, not just in the factories, everywhere. AI is not a bolt-on upgrade. We need to have continuous reinvention. Lean Six Sigma comes straight in the heart of it. More and more companies I talk to, they don't think of magical fairy dust. They're very down to earth, completely different picture than 2 years ago. And we have to be very realistic. In the end, I want to leave you with those 4 questions. And they are intrinsic questions. You don't have to answer them, but please write them down, think about them. First one is, what things which you're doing or is actually no longer valuable? That was a very, very hard one for me. And then the reverse is, what are some impossible things that you're doing that you can do now, you couldn't do before? For me, writing code, I couldn't write code, even though I finished the computer development school 20 years ago. What can you move to a wider market or democratize? And then what can you move upmarket? Personalize. Think like personalized healthcare, a very easy example. Thank you very much. Maybe
Thank you, Theo. Usually when I hear to you, I need a minute to. I'm speechless, to recover from all the things that you say in a way, in a positive way, of course. But it's so much information, it's so overwhelming. Still very exciting, somewhat scary sometimes, but I heard you saying Terminators are not coming, which is kind of a good news. So we do have 2-3 minutes. Let me just ask you maybe a question. You mentioned several things which might be the next big thing or the next hype. You mentioned medical, you mentioned video, imaging, voice. So what is the one thing that you feel is going to disrupt a lot the way we work today with AI?
The way we work, 2 things. It'll be a combination of 2 things. It will be initially the hybrid models which run locally. So if we can guarantee the quality of the data and the security of the data, many people will be somewhat more okay with sharing their data, both personally and within the company. Because I get this all time, especially in highly sensitive scenarios with customers in energy, in defense, they're not okay with running within the cloud. So running models locally, having more powerful models locally would be one thing. And this is, there is some great work which is happening. If you take a look at the DeepSeek models right now, or Kimi K2, which came a couple of days ago, you can run it right now on local infrastructure. And this is, even on your phone, you can run right now a DeepSeek Distill model, which actually is faster and bigger and better than ChatGPT 4. That's one. And then really the second thing would be voice agents. I really think that voice agents on the local language, having your buddy, having your coworker, would be transformative. And we're really starting to see the beginning of that.
Thank you, Theo. We do have some questions which we won't be able to answer now. Perhaps later people can drop them in the chat and we can go through them. We need to be on time, but again, it was a pleasure listening to you. Hope the audience enjoyed it. Thank you very much for being here with us, and good luck with your company. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Theo. Thank you, Vasil. That was great. Very, very interesting. Lovely to have you here. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you.